As I get older, I'm realizing how important it is to speak positive affirmations to myself. I'm a very spiritual person. Self-talk is very important. I think social media makes it easier for people to envy you, be jealous of you. So managing it in a healthy way. Why do we compare ourselves to people we barely know? Why am I envious of that person? What is that person doing that I'm not doing that I could be doing? What do I need to do to start doing that thing that that person is doing? But nowadays, social media just the information just gets out there so fast. Like, it's insane. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back again to my channel. So today's topic we're going to get into today is how to stop comparing yourself and feel successful at your own pace. I like this topic. I feel like a lot of us could do with more insight and more time talking about this and thinking about this. So let's go with question number one. So I'm not going to read from my phone today. I'm just going to pull out a bunch of answers and just read what not answers, questions, read what comes first. So the first one I picked is, how do you celebrate your progress privately? Right. So for me personally, I don't think I really take time out to celebrate progress privately, but I will give myself like little self-care treats, as a mom, give myself little dates and like spa moments or occasions, or go shopping, take myself shopping to buy something nice for myself. I think that's how I celebrate my progress privately. How do you celebrate yours? Let me know in the comments. So question number 2, what role does self-talk play in comparison? I think self-talk is very important. I think as I get older, I'm realizing how important it is to speak positive affirmations to myself. And yeah, I think when you're someone who doesn't really celebrate yourself much, you don't like much attention on what you do or just celebrating yourself in general, speaking positively to yourself in private can really help lift your spirits and just make you feel more confident when you're out in public. But yeah, I think if you're someone that tends to get very jealous of people, like you watch social media a lot and you're always comparing yourself, I think you need to take self-talk even more seriously, because that can just take you on a downward spiral, and affect your mental health. It can affect your livelihood and just so many different things, your friendships. It starts to dwindle on you, that comparison with people online. So you have to be very careful. But yeah, self-talk is really important. And I am not someone who does the whole wake up and do affirmations things, but if I see online and it's like a positive affirmation, I'll definitely take time out and do it and just speak into myself and speak positive things. Yeah, to make myself feel good. Okay, question number 3. How do you manage envy in a healthy way? Right. I think nowadays with social media, you really have to be careful with evil eye. Like, I'm a very spiritual person, so I'm the kind of person that will pray before I post something, ask God, should I share this? I'm very big on, just being in tune with myself and with what I post on social media and in public spaces, because I think social media makes it easier for people to envy you and be jealous of you. So managing it in a healthy way. I personally I'm not the kind of person to see somebody and think, oh, I'm jealous of what she has or what a next woman has and what she's doing. I'm very much, and I've always been like that, to be honest. I've never been that kind of a person. But if you are someone, like you're asking yourself this question genuinely, and you're someone that does envy people and you want to stop being so jealous and envious of people. I think it was Mel Gibbons, I think, or Mel Robbins. I can't remember her last name, but she's a huge author, really big motivational speaker in America. And she was on Emma Greedy's podcast recently. And she said, if you see something on social media or you see something anywhere and you feel envious of that person doing that thing, or you feel jealous of that person doing that thing, she said that is a good thing. She actually spun it and said it's a really positive thing. So I was surprised. I was intrigued to see what she had to say. And she basically said that, if you get that feeling, it's not something that you necessarily need to beat yourself up about. It's something that you need to use to motivate yourself and think and ask yourself, why am I jealous? Why am I envious of that person? What is that person doing that I'm not doing, that I could be doing? What do I need to do to start doing that thing that person is doing? So yeah, and she's just had an incredible life. Like, if you look her up, she's a really inspirational woman. She was a New York New York Times bestselling author. At one point, she has done like major things in the media space. She has her own media production company. She's huge. So yeah, I would say, yeah, if you want to manage it in a healthy way, ask yourself those questions whenever you're having that feeling. Question, I think it is 4. Can small personal wins make a bigger difference than major public achievements? Obviously, everyone has the standard things that they know to be what success means, but I really think it's personal. And just because you're not someone who likes to announce your achievements in public or want any special attention, it doesn't mean that the wins that you've had in private are any less than, I think those smaller personal wins sometimes actually even help you get to the point where you can accept and receive that public achievement and public gratitude and attention. Sometimes you have to deal with those smaller wins in private to be able to receive those public opportunities of success and praise. So yeah, I think they can make a bigger difference in the sense that they help you to receive bigger public achievements. I think it can also help you to have more confidence in yourself when you celebrate smaller wins in private. And yeah, and like I said, everyone has the general ideals of what success means. Oh, I've got a house, I've got a car, I've got this type of car, not just any car. I've got a family, I've got this many kids, I've got this many businesses. Those are the general societal ideas of success. But I also think every individual person on this earth has their own ideas of success. And we need to be in tune, particularly as women, with what those ideas of success are for us. And yeah, make note of them and always refer back to them. So question number 5, why do we compare ourselves to people we barely know? I think with social media, it makes it very easy. I'm in Nigeria right now. I can follow somebody in America and have a bit of insight into their life, or things that they want me to know about them through their social media. So, it can be as simple as, oh, I like the way she dresses, or I like the way she looks, or I like the way she speaks. I like, her presence, just off of the basis of social media. Never met this woman in my life, don't know a thing about her personally, but I find myself, I'm speaking like generally now, I find myself comparing myself to that person because I follow them on social media. So I think that's why we do compare ourselves to each other, to people we barely know. And I think as long as you don't let it affect your mental health, you don't start stalking them and being horrible and trying to emulate them in every sense, I think it's okay to compare ourselves a little bit. I think it's actually a bit healthy to compare yourself, to see what you want and what you don't want from different situations and life in general. But yeah. Question number 6, how does social media amplify comparison? Yeah. So that's pretty much going into what I just said, you know, it amplifies it, because back in the day, you wouldn't know about someone's achievement unless they directly told you, or you heard in a group setting, or you heard from somewhere else. But nowadays, social media, just like, the information just gets out there so fast. Like, it's insane. Like, something will be happening in somebody's house, and before you know it, a few hours later, it's already on social media. Sometimes not even a few hours, especially with like all this streaming and stuff. Like, I just feel like social media is just making it way too easy. These platforms are making it way too easy for us to compare ourselves and see into people's lives on a daily basis. But yeah, that's the world we live in. Question number 7. How do you stop letting societal expectations dictate your pace? That's a good one. Like I said, I'm not really someone that follows people, you know, and compares myself to people. I've always been someone that's like very in my own lane. Like, if I want to do something, I will just try and do it on my own. But it is difficult not to compare yourself to people, you know, and to not allow societal pressures to just get in your mind. Because let's say you're a single girl now, you're in your 30s and you're single, and you're going online, especially Christmas period, and you're seeing all these beautiful families with their Christmas photos, or, oh my gosh, their family is so cute. Da, 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 da. It's very hard to not feel like, oh, wow, I'm 30 something. Shouldn't I have a family? Shouldn't I have children? Shouldn't I be like at this stage in my life? But I think you just have to, you know, just remember that God's time is always the best. If you're a woman of faith, you will know that. And that should give you a sense of peace if you're at a stage in your life and you feel like you haven't accomplished certain things yet. So God's time is the best, and you shouldn't ever let society dictate the pace at which you go on in your life. Because trust me, if anything goes wrong because of the decision you've made because of society is not going to come and help you and say, oh, my sister, sorry, or let's help you for making the decision to rush into this thing or go and do that thing. So never let society's expectations and ideals phase you, and always keep your focus on God. It's between you and God, this thing that we call life. Nobody knows, you know, the trajectory of anybody's life. Nobody knows the future, you know. So you just have to take each day as it comes, pray about whatever you really feel God has put on your heart to give to you, you know, and yeah, let that be your peace. So what would you tell your younger self about comparing to others? Oh, this is a good one. I think a lot of us used to do this when we were younger, though, to be honest. It's pretty normal. I mean, for me, when I don't do it now, but when I was younger, I used to do it all the time. Yeah, because my school was predominantly a white girls' school. I was friends with all the black girls in the school because there was only about 4 or 5 of us out of like 200 plus students. So I was always comparing myself to, you know, even though they're my friends, I would still compare myself to them. Oh, their hair's like this, you know, your boy hair's so silky and long. Why is my hair not like that? And I wish I could get it like that. Mommy, I want to relax my hair. My hair's not straight. My hair's puffy, you know, just girl things basically. But yeah, I would just tell my younger self that, honey, you're beautiful. God made you perfectly. He knows every strand on your head, you know, and you're fearfully and wonderfully made, basically. And there's nobody like you. So don't ever try and emulate or be like someone else. Always remember that you were made perfectly and God doesn't make mistakes. So you don't need to be like anybody else. You are you and they are them, you know. So that's what I would just remind myself if I was speaking to my younger self. Question number 10. Do you feel like comparison is worse in your 20s, 30s, and why? Or later, and why? I think comparison is... that's a good question. Well, I've only done, 20s and 30s, so I don't really have experience of the later years, but I think actually 30s might be worse. Okay, I'm going to say 30s. You know why? Because in your 20s, everybody's graduated from uni or they didn't go to uni, so they're just working. Everyone's just trying to figure themselves out in their 20s, like what they want to do, what they like. Most people in their 20s haven't got it figured out yet. Everybody's still on the same level playing field and trying to figure it out. But when you're in your 30s, by that stage, most people have figured it out. So they're a lot more advanced in their careers. They have got maybe bigger families at that point, their own families, maybe 2 or 3 kids. And yeah, so comparison is probably worse, I think, in your 30s. I think by the time you hit your 40s and later, you don't really care what other people are doing as much. Like, you have your tribe probably at that stage, so your long lasting friends. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of my dad and like the way he thinks, and he's just very much like, he really doesn't care what anybody else thinks. Like, he's someone that like he just goes through life just listening to his own intuition and listening to himself. He really doesn't care, I would say, so much about what other people are doing. And yeah, I think that when you get to that stage, because he's in his 60s now, but for the most part, he's always been like that. And I think, yeah, when you get to about 40s, you don't really care about comparing yourself to other people. It's like, whatever, like, no one can shame you at that point. Once you get to 40 something, no one can shame you, because you really don't care, because you've seen a lot of life by that point. And you just realize a lot of the stuff that we're comparing ourselves about are just fickle and don't mean much. So yeah, that is question 10. So guys, that was the last question. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. And I hope these questions just gave you something to think about. So what is one comparison that you're gonna drop this year? Tell me in the comments. What is one comparison that you're not gonna do anymore because it doesn't serve you? Or one comparison that you feel like this is now time to let go? Let me know in the comments. Let's share. Let's get advice from each other. And yeah, I'll see you in my next episode.